Our deepest fear is not that we are inadequate. Our deepest fear is that we are powerful beyond measure. It is our light, not our darkness, that most frightens us. Your playing small does not serve the world. There is nothing enlightened about shrinking so that other people won't feel insecure around you. We were all meant to shine as children do. It's not just in some of us, it's in everyone. And as we let our own light shine, we unconsciously give other people permission to do the same. As we are liberated from our own fear, our presence automatically liberates others. Sir, I just want to say thank you. You saved my life.
Thank you, sirs. All of you.
I get up from the ground, pull my mind from what's keeping me down, and it's time to decide on the action that will force the tide. And I feel that I can win. I'm starting to spin, starting over once again.
This is post-production Dark Logos hitting you up. I know it's sort of weird when videos start like that, where it's the post-production is the beginning. But yeah, there are a lot of things that happened this year at Worlds. And I'm grateful for being able to go. Unfortunately, my microphone, as Lucas Van Hollen puts it, that can pick up the thoughts in my head and project it 20 miles away as a foghorn, is at my house. I'm at my mother's house because my water heater is out. So I'm doing all of my post-production on my laptop. I want to say something before I get into Worlds this year, my Worlds video. One, there were conversations that I was going to try to have that I couldn't get, that I really wanted to get, such as an interview with Clay, the designer of 8C units. I really wanted to try to get a hold of Clay. I talked to Clay. I was going to try to get him on Sunday, and then stuff happened. So that's my fault. I have a international player, Madison, on the show, and I'm really grateful for being able to have a longtime listener just say, hey, I still enjoy your content. I listen to you, and the fact that my journey is part of his journey means a lot. Yeah. And yeah, there's other technical things that happened, primarily with teams. Teams, I felt we were really successful. I'm not going to spoil everything, but I felt we were real successful at teams. And singles, I played the best heroclix of my life at 300 Modern, and also in Pulp. Being fifth in the world in Pulp on the first major Pulp event, it fills me full of all sorts of giddiness. And especially when you're sitting in Discord with your teammate saying, hey, this year, either you're going to be the world champion of Pulp or I'm going to be the world champion of Pulp. but one of us is going to be the world champion of Pulp, and then it happens. That feels good. When I was playing Pulp, I actually felt like all those years of play and practice and dedication and skill set that I pull out in teams was finally sort of being showcased in a standard format. And that just may be because of my own personal limitations or time constraints with family and whatnot. But I actually felt like I was a Titan. That I was one of the most formidable people in the room. And I felt like people had to go through me to get to the top. And that's something I don't really feel in 300 Modern. And you can easily say that's a confidence issue. That's a what's inside your head issue. And I'm like, yeah, that is to a degree something what's inside your head issue that, maybe in the future Dark Logos will deal with that. But to go in with no expectations and confidence, and to see that manifest in placement due to the effort and energy that I put in, and research and help from my locals to my teammates, and even AC Units is the freaking AI of heroclix. It all just sort of came together. So this year Worlds, regardless of controversies and dramas, and shout out to Pat Frazier for being the world champion. I've said it, maybe too much privately on other shows even, that I'm super happy that Dial H does all the work that they do for the community. And pretty much, like Calder is the promised one for all the past podcasters. So go ahead and enjoy this episode of Starting Over Podcast.
Day one at Worlds. I'm here, sleepy. We just we've been here for a little bit, talking to some people. It's going to be interesting. The line is a weird situation with the line, but it is what it is. I see a lot of people here early, so we're going to go see how this breaks down. We're going to see how this breaks down. I'm going to try to do my best to get as much recording as I can this year. My goal is to try to get y'all about an hour of content. That's the goal. I'm going to try to do my best, and we'll see how this goes. We'll see how it goes. All right. So that's it. Let's go ahead and transition. All right. So we're at the end of Team Worlds. I mean, not Team Worlds. Pulp. Sorry, I haven't eaten since this morning, so I have little hiccups. But pretty much, there's a couple of things that I really, really want to emphasize. Your boy is 5th place in the world, yeah, for the first Pulp event ever. Yes, my other teammate, Lucas Van Hollen, is your Pulp World Champion. Now, I told him when we made our teams, either he was going to be the Pulp World Champion or I was going to be the Pulp World Champion. And I was right. He became the Pulp World Champion. So, yay on that. Okay? So, I got 5th place. I only lost one game. So, your boy is smiling. Your boy is smiling. But the prizing was okay. We knew what the prizing was when we were getting into it. So, it is what it is. But here's the biggest lessons learned from Pulp. And the first thing that I want to say is a lot of folks say, like, oh, you don't run theme team. And I'm like, maybe not, depending on your theme. I saw some good theme teams. Like, I saw a very solid Fantastic Four theme team that was very powerful with Pulse Wave and other great things with it. But you know, and it ran through a lot of other different builds. But again, what happened? He had the key tools. Okay, pulse wave, prob, power cosmic. So you couldn't be outwitted. So there was a lot of like just stuff like that. So I would say right now that the other key thing to just sort of be mindful of is Sinister. Like pretty much the majority of the top tables were running Sinister. And the Sinister tempo, from my opinion, is real simple. Turn 1, put a token on Sinister with Moira. Turn 2, put a token on Sinister with Moira. If you're facing another Sinister, okay, at that point in time, if they have 2 tokens and you have 2 tokens, and you did not engage on turn 1, you are going to be exchanging tokens. So you're both going to have tokens, more than enough tokens. So you don't really need to activate Moira more than once. Okay? I'm sorry, more than twice for you to have enough tokens to activate for Sinister. Okay? Because if you're facing a Sinister, they're just going to keep doing it. And if you're not facing a Sinister, then yeah, you're going to be a lot more conservative with your Sinister. But yeah, if you have, if it's Sinister versus Sinister, after you get your second rally die, your Sinister can go out there and fight. Like, it actually is the best thing that you can do, is go outwit, start taking shots, forcing your opponent to burn rally die on your Sinister, rolling a double 5, crit hitting, all that other stuff. The next thing that I'm really going to sort of stand out and say is, it's just like Pauper last year, that if you built your team to wipe, you were in a good position. Okay, I built my team to survive impact with Karima, to survive impact with Deathstroke, and to navigate those interactions in a very strong manner. If the big mistake I will say for myself personally of like why I'm 5th and not, you know, probably 3rd or 4th is points. And me not just going out there and hustling points and building a team that could just whack-a-doodle-do points. But I also think as well, like, most teams just can't do that. And if most teams can't do that, that creates some problems. And I think that's something where if the games are going to be quicker, figures like Sinister can't exist. And the main reason figures like Sinister can't exist, all right, the lighting's better over here. The main reason figures like Sinister can't exist is it slows the game down too much. It's different if your opponent is rolling poorly. And it's like, oh, wow, they can't hit an 18, they can't hit a 19, they can't hit a 20. But when your opponent hits it, you know, with high numbers, rolls a 1 in there, they're like, ooh, this is a big hit. I need to prob out of a hit to go into what would appear to be something else so I don't crit miss. I think there's a major problem in that. So I think figures in the future like Sinister that replace dies need to replace 2s instead of 1. And I know some folks will be like, man, that's not that good. Man, yeah, let them crit miss. Like, okay. And this is what a former judge who was playing sort of said to me, and I thought this was very important. He said, Sinister does not require line of fire, nor range. And he could just do whatever he does. And that creates a problem in the long run, because a lot of other characters, to do their effects, have to have line of fire or at least range. And so giving him full map reach at his low dial at least is a problem. So we need to sort of have a solution for Sinister and Pulp. Karima's retiring out. I think she's also one of those like, you probably need to like talk about that chick. I know some folks will say, well, what about Deathstroke? What about him? I'm like, I think Deathstroke's fine because you can't do die replacement in his pulse wave. Okay, you can't Prodigy rally his pulse wave to be a 5. Okay, you just can't. And you know, he can roll bad and just roll a 1, and only one character takes 1 damage. So there are some key things that are to be considered there when you are looking at Deathstroke. So there's that. I think also with Teen Lantern retiring, it's also going to slow things down. And I know some folks will be like, okay, how? Like, you're looking at a lot of your very good generic taxis retiring out, and you need those not necessarily as mega buses everywhere, let's go, but I think that's something that may need to be addressed of, okay, we need to have a Green Lantern in this format, or 1 or 2, or we need to have somebody with Passenger 4 generic at a lower rarity instead of higher rarity. Or if we're looking at like higher mobility in Passenger 3 or higher mobility Passenger 2 or some other, you know, additional effect if it's Passenger 2. But we definitely need to see that. I also think one of the other key problems that comes in for some people is there are a lot of figures. They're just a lot of figures that you're going to end up fielding or see fielded. So like on occasion, like let me say this, out of all my games that I played today, I can tell you I only really had one player play a figure that was 100 points or more. Okay. The rest of my games, I was playing teams with sub 100 point figures, with lots of sub 100 point figures. The next highest point figure that I faced off against was 75 point Karima. And so that should really tell you right there that Pulp is really about fielding about 6 to 7 figures, and most of them are like 50 points or less. You know, you're not fielding a whole bunch of big guns. The other thing that I would also say is, and this was a downfall of a couple of my opponents, understand why you are winning on your map and why you could lose in your matchup on that map. Okay, understand why you are winning on that map, and then also understand why you can lose on that map. I had 2 matches today where my opponents took me 2 maps that they did not have plans for completely, and that cost them time, that cost them positioning, and I was able to pull off tricks that were frustrating. And then this is the other element. Like, if you face a mirror match and this map is your strongest map, or the map you've been winning on is your strongest map, or you face something that's close to a mirror match, why are you going to take an opponent to a map which is really strong for you, and they get the majority of the benefits as well against you? That's just a bad play. Okay, that's just a bad play. So what we need to sort of look at as a community and look at in Popper in the future is, how's map selection work? I think there was something that Lucas said to me that does resonate still, and it is like an advancement of my own personal philosophy for maps, which is you need a small map, you need a large map, and you need an indoor or an outdoor map. Okay, if you don't cover the other, one or the other. And that's the really big thing. Now, when everything shifts into just the smaller maps, and that's the standard maps, then I would make the argument is that you would need a congested map with a lot of blocking. You need an outdoor map and you need an indoor map. Okay, and that's where I would sort of put that in, because breaking line of fire becomes important. So, like, my opponent took me to an Ultron map because they had Karima, but didn't understand, like, look, if you don't have a whole bunch of flyers, this map can trip you up. Don't get so hung up on Karima that you forget everything else. So that's the issue. All right. Overall, I'm happy about today. I'm happy about today. And the reason I'm happy about today is, yeah, I placed well at a very packed event. I am not content like in the past where like, oh yeah, we did well at teams. Forget 300 modern. Whatever. I'm here to play. Let's go. No. I'm as I told my friends and my teammates, I'm still hungry. Quote Denzel Washington. Yeah, that brother's starving. And 2 Connellys for 5th place through the gauntleted field that I played through with 6 rounds is a little weak. Am I angry? No. Should I have like a con exclusive set? No. It would have been nice to just be like, hey, you spent 6 hours playing. You get one of the current winnables or 2 of the current winnables. That would be nice. I would have liked maybe a God Venom or something. Like, hey, that could be a thing. But again, I do not know what is in the minds of them about pricing. And I'm also going to say this, like, Pulp will be getting bigger. Pulp will be getting bigger. Pulp will not be shrinking. Okay? And the main reason I personally believe that is that we are facing economic troubles, massive inflation. We're also dealing with the fact that most 300 modern teams are equivalent to a car payment. Like, for real. Now, a lot of us are saying, like, yeah, man, if you can't afford to play it, don't play it, blah, blah, blah. You got to borrow, blah, 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 blah. So somebody got to put down the down payment or the investment on the product. Okay. And I've said for years that, CURs have like absolutely no value because the majority of the competitive meta is the super rare and up. And the rare used to be the cream of the crop until the ultra chase started to creep into a functional placement in game design. That the ultra chase holds a role. And thus it skewed the power of the current game upward and made rares that would have been, crown jewels for a lot of other teams in the past, like waifs on the street, Oliver Twist style. Okay. So when you are dealing with a situation where probably the most expensive figure that's coming out of coming out in competitive in Pauper, not Pauper, Pulp, is from a mini game. The average cost of a majority of these teams will not exceed $100. And the competitiveness that I saw today, and realistically the lack of stress due to the complication of the game, made it very enjoyable. All my games were very straightforward. It was like, you can do this, or you can do this. Do you have the actions? Where's your leaderships? That's it. Whereas in 300 Modern, it's just like, I somehow, through the power of Grayskull, can hit you from across the map and take no damage or have no consequences. So I do believe if Pulp was on Friday or Pulp was on Saturday, I think the population of pulp would be higher. But again, of course it would be higher because it's more easily accessed days. So that's something too. I also know that pulp would never be like on a Sunday because the event would just take too long, and it would be packed every time. Like you would get the 64 players every time. So I think the one thing that I will say for pulp, if you're going out there and trying to grow your community, it's the perfect format. I got a player that is an older player, been playing the game longer than I have. And he is a very skilled player, but he just likes playing his themes. He likes playing his comics. He does not care about power gaming. And when it came down to pulp and get ready for Worlds, I told him, it's like, I need you to practice. I need you to practice because you have the skill set that I need in this format. Because in this format, it's not about all the upper, silver and gold stuff. This is about the down-to-earth common figures that we're using consistently. And his insights were useful to the point where I wouldn't have placed well without play testing against him and several other my locals. And he's excited about playing pulp. Whereas, when I need to play test for 300 Modern, he, as a good friend and as another local, he will build a team to his standard, but not compromise himself to give me a challenge, knowing that he's going to lose because of what I'm playing. Okay? That's not fun. All right? Now you can say your judge will handle this, blah, 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 blah. And I understand. We have a lot of other events. But realistically, I can understand like a lot of people not having fun in this meta, in particularly because it's the Masters of Evil meta, and you need to have, 3 to 4 chases and an ultra chase to perform at a very high level. That really cannot be touched and doesn't really have a strong counter. So what do you do in that situation? Well, it's easy. You can say like, oh, well, get good, son, which is still true. Or you can be running pulp, and you don't have to run modern pulp. You can run silver pulp. You can run, set pulp or whatever. And I think at that point in time, WizKids will have a winner. Now the question is will they consider it a win? Because once you get solid in pulp, you're really just spending about 50 to maybe $80 a set to buy a bunch of CURs, because everything's Highlander, except for like generation stuff. So maybe you spend a little couple extra dollars here, generic there, have a set of 3 of this, set of 4 of that, and that's it. And at that point, you start coming into WizKid's bottom line probably being subverted just a bit. So if you're looking at taking 300 Modern, another step forward, and you're looking at trying to get more people into 300 Point Modern, I think pulp is like you have to feed them pulp tournaments for a good 6 to 8 months, maybe even a year and a half before they could get serious about 300 Modern and expand their thinking and move into that format as well. All right, well, that's my experience from day one. Your brother got a Captain America. I got to go back and get Space Ghost. Brother get paid tomorrow. All right, then. I will check y'all tomorrow. All right. Okay, gentlemen. It's another year of Worlds. It's another year of teams. Okay? The theme this year is doom. And so the word I have for you is tyranny. Tyranny is the oppression of all others. Tyranny is the dominance over all those that oppose you. Tyranny is taking the absolute maximum amount of power and leveraging it to your best. So today, when you sit down in front of your opponent, they already know what the Phoenix Nest means. They already know that there's going to be a bad day. They already know that they're going to have to roll their best, be their best, and be someone else because who they are is not good enough to beat you. They're going to have to pretend. And that's going to make your games far superior. And when you roll out victorious, in the back of their mind is only going to be one word being spoken, and that's doom. That's doom. And when you go into that next event, into that next round, the only thing that they're going to think is doom. Doom. I got to face Phoenix Nest. This is doom. Because what's our history? Our history is not just singles events. Our history is not just world titles. Our history is teams. Because when they say, hey, here's Phoenix Nest, are they saying, here's this one individual, here's these two individuals, here's these three individuals? No, it's a team. Everyone dominates. Everyone brings their best. Everyone is on top. No one is on this team by accident. Because we win, lose, start over. We outwork the other teams. We outplan the other teams. We outthink the other teams. We outstrategize the other teams. So today, when you are playing, I want you not to give up. Know that you have to fight to the end because your game can determine if y'all go forward. Do not give up. It's easy. I'm down. My figures are out. I got these last few figures. I don't know what to do. Fight. When you hear that voice inside you says, no, this game's over, I want you to go and grab that voice by the throat inside your hand, lift it up and say, not today. We are going to win. Last year, we were top 16, top 8, top 4, finals. How many teams can do that? How many organizations can do that? They can say, oh, well, you're lucky. You have this person, you have that person. No. How many organizations can field that many teams and be that successful with that many bricks? So keep that in mind for today. The word is doom. The word is tyranny. Leverage your power. Do not be afraid of it. We're in a set of villains. We didn't even know we were going to have a set of villains when we were going to get these shirts. We are dressed appropriately. All right, gentlemen, let's go and win. I got Jay Major, the man that invented the high money meta. You got folks think I'm playing. You know I'm not playing. So it's team day. How you pulling?
Doing all right. I pulled good. We pulled good. Black Adam, double accordion thunders, 300 points, double two perplexes. Black Adam running around doing 6 or doing 5, knock back for 6. I'm feeling good.
Okay. How about your teammates? How they do? That reaction a little slow. that reaction a little slow.
Yes, teammates are doing good. Now, all teammates are doing good. One's got a Batman enemy team, which got a lot of synergy to it, and the other teammate is playing Injustice Superman and Injustice Wonder Woman, which is right up his alley. Two figures, can't fuck that up. Yeah. Sorry about the words. Can't mess that up.
All right. It's like editing Edward. We got to get that. Okay. So overall, what do you think about this Notorious set for Sealed?
I wasn't too sure about it at first until I started playing it. It's good. It's got some good things to it. I don't like they went back to common primes, but other than that, I like a lot of goons, a lot of synergy, a lot of Batman enemy to it. it's good. I like it.
Okay. All right. So where's your store? Because a lot of folks know the name, but might not know you have a store.
The store is Heroes in Games. For everybody that knows me, back in the day when it was Origins, it was called Jay's Place, but now it's the name of the store is Heroes in Games in Columbus, Ohio, in the convention center.
Okay, so when you're at Origins and you need that last minute, I forgot that at the hotel. All right, I'm with my good friend from Whiskey Tango Foxtrot, one of the top team heroclix players here. Introduce yourself to everybody.
Hi everybody, I'm John Burgess. I'm out in Virginia Beach, Virginia.
All right, so tell us, how is Team Worlds doing for you this year?
We pulled well, but a lot of people pulled very well. You got a different correlations. So you got people that are pulling 5, 6 super rares and 4 primes versus like your normal stuff. So with that, it's like, yeah, you're kind of going into a field that's just really wild and random.
Okay. Do you when you look at it, do you think like this is the best set that we could have had versus like, yeah, some other set would have been way more balanced for Sealed?
I like Notorious.
Okay.
I want the new stuff in my hands. Aside from that, nobody knew about the distribution issues, and the set plays it's really cool to play inside of itself. Battle Royales and the Sealed.
Okay. All right. So far, you're rocking, and he beat me, so I'm not salty. I'm putting him on my show. I'm a professional. You're running. What's your teams to let people know?
So I got Lightning Lord, 100 points, and I'm running Black Adam at 200.
Okay.
And so far, I have surprised 3 people by double perplexing up Lightning Lord's running shot and getting full team pulse waves.
I am one of those people.
And just follow up with a giant beat stick, and then that's where the dice fall.
There we go. All right. So right now, going forward, what is you all's team record?
We are 3-0 with 7 wins.
Okay. So they have a high chance of breaking. Again, Whiskey Tango Foxtrot, again, Team Worlds. These are one of your high-performing teams, okay? So when folks are like, hey, like, I don't know these people, why are they here? They consistently break, okay? So always be mindful of them. It's like, oh, I don't know these names for this event. Like, John here is one of the top players in the world for teams. So again, I'm going to try to get you all some more content. I'd like to thank John for coming on the show. And where you play at?
I play at Battlegrounds in Richmond and Atomic Comics Emporium out in Newport News and Hamilton.
Okay. All right. I'm going to try to get some more interviews. Let's go. Okay. I got, this is Singles Day. I'm going to probably have to magically edit and put my team's analysis in here. All right, I'm with an international listener. Go ahead and introduce yourself to the nice people.
Hi, I'm Edison. I'm from Singapore, and I traveled all the way here today to play the World Championship.
Okay, and you are the Singaporean national champion, correct?
Yep, this year and last year.
Oh, see, yeah. Okay, high quality people, high quality. I got a 2-time international national champion. All right, so okay, high quality. All right, so you've been playing the heroclix for a while. So what is your view of team building right now, in looking at like the competitive meta?
I think right now is the best time I've ever played heroclix in. I actually started back in Infinity Challenge, and I think that's like 20 over years. And right now, team building, I like how the points are scaled. Maybe your main attackers are like 50 to 75 points, which I think is the best, because you can put in multiple characters inside your team, and it really feels like a team.
Yes. Yeah. So here's one question that I want to sort of present to you, because I know a lot of people will be like, what about figures? What about the meta? No. I really am more interested in your view on what makes a good team in terms of design, like you're building your own team. Because a lot of times what will end up happening is people will get sort of sidebarred into this one way of thinking, And if you've been playing this long, you've had multiple different iterations of team building. So can you explain to people like your thought process on team building?
Normally, I'll try to look for like maybe a main attacker first, and then I'll look for something secondary, and then pretty much everything will be supporting that idea of the build. That if I were to lose one of my attackers, it still will function. Yeah, I will still be able to protect my units and not die. Don't get killed. Yeah. So yeah, I think it's quite complex because like the meta previously used to be range combat when I was playing. Then I went on hiatus and it came back. It seemed to be like more close combat oriented right now, where there are a lot of charge and flurry. This at least what I saw today. Yeah, we got hypersonic attacks all going in. So I don't know. I like where the point value is right now, where you can have two main attackers inside a team. Yeah, and you can have your multiple support figures.
Okay, so what do you think about the map changes? Because I know for me, the map changes have been bittersweet because I have been in that mindset of like, you know, pick your spot, take your shot, maneuver around, try to hide, try to, you know, deny points. You know, do whatever you can. You know, if you got a high risk, you can. Now things are a lot more close, a lot more intimate. Like running away is not necessarily going to secure you.
Yeah, that's very true. Yeah, it's no longer really an option, right, where you can hide in one corner, maybe barrier up. Because now it's 16 squares. You're losing 8 squares from the previous one. I prefer it now, the smaller map, just because there's a lot more interaction that can happen in the game. During my last year's nationals, when we were playing the long maps, I was actually using Thanos, and I barely moved 4 or 5 squares up. I felt that was maybe a bit of a negative player experience, and I just went undefeated by hiding in one corner and just mind controlling.
Oh, okay.
So after that, and then realizing that now the maps are smaller, at least now your opponents can actually try to catch up, run forward, and then maybe they can try to score some points and then maybe level up the advantage.
Okay, and see, and this was one thing that I brought up to teammates of mine, and I said, the issue that we're going to have in the future is legacy cards.
Yeah.
And you're going to have something that was popular before the shrink happened. And just like Darkseid shows up and he has like 10 range. And it's just like, well, that's full map reach with a TK just about. Like, there's no reason for him not to have full map reach with like a TK, maybe a couple of shields, from almost any spot. And you're bringing up the fact that Thanos was oppressive because it was range plus barrier, and then I really didn't have to do anything. What, like, range is a factor. What else do you think is going to probably be a factor for people in the future for building teams or even competing?
Just to bring up a point that you made for Darkseid, because now the older figures, their range is so big, I think they'll always have an advantage on their edge as long as they don't get too many improved movements or improved targeting. So at least you still can place your terrain markers on board. Hopefully you can try to prevent some line of fire. But I think if they generally scale down the ranges, maybe upcoming legacy figures, they pick the ones with 6 range or around that period, might be better. But I don't think they would do it. Looking at Darkseid,
I feel Nick Fury is coming inevitably. Nick Fury is inevitable. Like
he's a bit too famous, right?
Yeah, he's too famous. And so, like, going in like more in depth, and I said this to my team when we were preparing going into this weekend. I said, we are too nice on terrain. When we are playing, it's like, oh yeah, you know you can hurt somebody in first turn immediately. We don't think about that. We don't build for that. We don't like it. Oh, we're like, that's that's not the thing. And then we'll think of all these other shenanigans with terrain. But then all of a sudden, I said to them going into Worlds, like, be prepared for people to be not nice with terrain. Be prepared for people to come into the wake-up call on terrain, like, maybe this stuff needs to be immobile. Maybe.
Yeah, terrain immobile, right?
Yeah.
Like, I remember there's one very big piece of elevated terrain. That's really funny.
The platform.
The platform.
Yeah.
I've seen games where they would TK the under and then TK out and
Yeah.
just take a damage. Yeah, that's hilarious.
So what's your thoughts on terrain and how it's changed the game, and what would be a change that you would make to terrain?
At the moment, I do enjoy it. I really like the presence of elevated terrain where you can actually bring in your elevated pieces.
Yeah.
So like I was playing on the Ultron Land map and I will to use one of the containers to actually bridge across in the Ultron's mouth. So I really like those kind of setups that I can do. One of the things I like to do is I like to TK the herb bush right under my characters and then just power action just to heal one.
Oh,
That's
yeah.
something that I've been pulling off. I actually just did it just now also. Just to heal one clip.
Yeah. So that's pretty good.
For changes, at the moment I don't have too much complaints. It's just that maybe for the size, don't make it too big. Yeah. Because in certain maps, if there are too many, what do you call it, the cross sections.
Yes.
Yeah, you can't place these terrains on those places.
Yeah.
So the bigger the terrain, the harder is it to fit on the map.
Yeah, so I think it's what you're thinking is the platform, because
Yep.
the platform for me, to me it needs a rule that it needs to be 3 to 4 squares away from each starting area.
Yeah.
And the reason I say that is my last opponent, and I'm not going to even say it was oppressive because he went first, and I just sort of was like, okay, you push that there. I legally don't have to put all my figures here. I'm going to go move my characters down. But if he was second player, with that platform, he just blocked all of my line of fire for my TK.
Yeah, that's
Like, it's all gone. And now I'm spending an action on TKing to just throw the terrain, which then is going to turn into debris. And if he has any advantages, with hindering terrain, then all I've done is still feed into my opponent, which then creates a whole other list of
For
problems.
that, I agree. Yeah, maybe don't place any terrain within 3 squares of starting area. So
Yeah.
at least there's like some gap. But I think maybe 4 would be better since they are doing like minimum 4 range.
Yeah.
Yeah, a lot of values are now at 4.
4.
Maybe 4 squares away from starting areas. I think that would be
Yeah, and I think my only thing with the big terrain, because believe it or not, like I was a big proponent when I saw the platform. I saw the platform. I was like, you don't know how many teams I'm going to so get with this platform with Sarkarian Iron Man, and
I like that it came with the Hawk Play at Home kit.
yeah, with the Hulk, the cult to carry. Yeah, so, but then I said, like, okay, so Sackman just comes in, starts shuffling people. And then I thought to myself, I'm like, anybody with hypersonic speed, super strength, and sidestep just becomes almost a free, generate free damage machine.
And it gives you the giant reach as well.
Yeah, it gives you the giant reach as well, and then it's like plus 3 damage. So it's like you do max damage when you hit with it. So I fell in love with it, and then what ended up happening is the Master of Evil meta kicked in, and I said, you know what a brother needs? A shelf. A shelf has been the most versatile tool that I have used all weekend. I have put people out of stealth. I have elevated King Killmonger to look over the crowd so he can't help anybody. I have done so much more with the shelf than I've done with the platform. And so like the nimbleness of the shelf, I like that a little bit more. So here we talked briefly about special terrains. What would be a special terrain that you would want to see? Like what effect? You're just like, yeah, do this effect.
I would like to see maybe like the Lazarus Pit.
Oh!
Yeah, but I don't want it to do the same thing as the Herb Garden. Maybe you can roll D6, heal half, and then your character goes insane, became Battle Fury or something.
Oh, that would be good. Okay.
That's something I would like to see.
Okay, Wiz Kids, you can borrow this one. We give you full rights to borrow this one. Okay, cool. All right, wrapping things up because I've taken a good chunk of your time. Where do you play at in Singapore?
There are 3 different stores that I play at. Gallon Games, Table Minis, and Team Board Game.
Okay.
Our community is quite small at the moment. We are about 8 to 16 players. But we're trying to keep the game growing. We do events maybe 3 times a month for each store. Each store has one event every month. And we always change the format. Like we'll either play Modern, or we'll play Pulp, and then next month I think we're going to play Silver Age
Okay.
for the first time in our community because
Oh, that's nice.
we're really young right now. The players there are only some veterans, but majority are brand new players. So we're going to try Silver Age just because of the rotation tomorrow.
Yeah, literally.
So a lot of the newer players, collection starts to rotate as well. So we're going to do Silver Age next month.
Okay, so again, I like to say like, hey, you know, over the years, I've had the privilege of talking to people that have been in other countries. Say, hey, you're that starting over podcast guy,
Yes.
and I talked to him yesterday. I said, if I will see you tomorrow. You are going to be on my show.
And I've been watching you for 8 over years, I believe. Yeah. For a very long time.
Yeah, so he's an OG fan. So I like to give him a shout out, and I'm gonna go on and move to my next interview. Yo, this is the end of this is the last battle royale for Saturday. I'm here. I will have a story later. I luckily teamed up with Joe on Battle Royale. We're here. We're gonna play. Let's go. Okay, I got the man Howard Brock. I got the slight profile lean. I'm to the side, and he's in front of me. And we're doing it like this because we're in the finals hall of Worlds this year talking. So I can't be too loud, and I can't be my normal bombastic self, but I have to be close enough so that the mic picks up my voice. And then I can't be too close because then it's just ahead of Howard. and this isn't Power Rangers, and he's not Zordon. So let's talk, Howard.
Sure.
All right, what do you think of the game this year so far? Like,
are we talking about the actual game, or are we talking about the tournament?
Let's break it down. Let's say, did you play Pulp?
I did.
What'd you think about Pulp?
Love Pulp. It's my favorite format right now. I would love to just. I want to play Pulp right now, and let's do a tournament right now. And play Pulp. The format, the game. I think that's a. I have plans to do stuff with Pulp myself that I've been talking to Whiz Kids about, and I think that it can be used for kids to get kids involved. I have a kids program that I want to work with Whiz Kids to bring about. So I think Pulp is the perfect format for that.
Okay, I personally have been feeling that Pulp is the best way to get people into competitive.
Yeah.
And for people that are burnt out of competitive to have something else that's just like, yeah, this is sort of like a little bit nostalgia bait. It's a little bit more simple, and it's like, yeah, I can play a complex game. I said in one of my games in Pulp, I told him, it's like, this is about to be one of the most technical games of heroclix you're ever going to play. And he's like, how's that? It's like, I have a massive amount of fundamentals that I am going to deploy in this game against you. And that's why it's going to be a highly technical game, because I don't have like, oh, I get to roll out against you because you have equipment, or I get to do 18 props against you. Like, I have to play very technically or else I lose, you know. So I was happy with the bit. Well, the prizing, as I told folks, is brother was still hungry. Like, after usually winning an event or being top place, I get that like satisfied feeling, and I don't really want to like go hard. I went into Teams Day. I was like, that brother starving, and I was like, my bag's a little light whiskey.
I would. I have, you know, if you want to talk about positive and negative things here. All right. So the positive is always the people for me. It's always seeing everybody, and I would probably come and not even play and have a good time, just to be frank, because I like the people here, and it's like a reunion to me. And I love sitting down and talking and going to eat, doing things. So no matter what was to happen here, that part of it's sanctified good for me. All right. So they did some improvements. I think that I'm still torn on battle royals, the way they do battle royals. I still prefer the on-demand battle royals, walking up and starting.
Oh yeah, instead of the schedule.
But it is organized, and so I can't complain. It was nice playing with Notorious, which, by the way, talking about Pulp, there's going to be some serious Pulp figures coming from Notorious.
Can Black Adam?
Yeah.
Black Adam.
Poison Ivy.
Poison Ivy too, but yeah, like
there's a serious Pulp figures.
BFF GFF is about to be a problem. it's about to be a problem.
It is. And so anyway, that was good. I've been talking to Whiz Kids, and anybody who wants to listen, I'm not pleased with the way they run tournaments. And it's and I'm not talking about judging. I'm not talking about any of those things. I believe that there should be a standard tournament rules. We have it in Rock, and I'm not saying Rock is better than Whiz Kids. Whiz Kids has not went there yet. They used to. There's supposed to be tournament comprehensive rules that we used to have.
Yeah,
and
we don't have those anymore.
And so what they do here is they just simply leave it to whoever the head judge is to make his call on what to run. And the problem is that's inconsistent. So with Pulp Worlds, it was supposed to be a world championship, did not feel like a world championship. It felt like
6 rounds in it.
Swiss, just Swiss, and that didn't feel right to me. And the pricing was very poor. And I don't think I'm spoiled. I'm not trying to sound like I'm spoiled. But again, it's a standard thing with us. It's when we're used to this much is being given out, and it's a standard. And the standard should be on events also. So the same thing with modern was a little bit better. The modern singles was a little bit better. We did 5 rounds of Swiss. Technically, I think we should have done 6 rounds of Swiss, but we did 5 in a cut. So not as much of a complaint about it, and the pricing is better for singles. They put everything in the singles modern. The silver was run the same way as the Pulp, and the teams was very lacking in pricing. In fact, I think we calculated that the second place got more than the first place value-wise on the sets, but that's not that bad. But again, I don't think that the proper amount of Swiss rounds was run in teams. Biggest teams event they've ever had.
Yeah.
And
69 teams, no pun intended, literally 69 teams.
And the cut was too small, in my opinion, and the Swiss rounds was not enough. That's my opinion. I just want to see a standard. When I go somewhere, I want to know what we're supposed to run, and it's being run the same way everywhere we go. And Whiz Kids, in my opinion, and I'm not trying to knock them because I'm overall happy. So don't get me wrong. This isn't critiquing. I just would like to see them rather than make the time and then fit the tournament to the time, make the tournament and then fit the time to the tournament.
I understand that, and I think I made a criticism earlier this year. I don't have too many shows, so you can go back and watch this. But I said it's like Pulp will only be serious if there's a world championship. Theme will only be serious if there's a world championship. If WizKids wants to hold that these formats are a true test of the game and skill, and they require a different skill set than 300 Modern, than sealed teams or anything else, you need to have it be treated the same.
I agree.
Now, if you want to say like 300 Modern is the queen of the prom, okay, then that's fine, but you also have to recognize like the king of the prom is teams. You know, like runner-up is Paul. Like in terms of like community unity, everybody knows me. I am pro shirt meta. Like the shirt meta every year, I'm scoping out like, oh, you did that. Like next year we have to do this. Like each year I try to up my shirt game. When I say Phoenix Nest is high fashion, I mean it. But like the biggest motivator that holds people together functionally is teams. What gets people excited to rep their store or their group is teams. And when I looked at teams this year, I was just like, meh. Like, could I play? It's like, yeah, we're gonna play, but this is more for honor than it is for me trying to, like, as I say, feed everybody.
And looking in the past, teams has always been treated the same as singles.
Yeah.
It's always, the pricing's always the same. So what's always happened with pricing before, if you won the event, if you won the event, you got all of the con exclusives, both the Bibles and the winnables. You got all of them. You got at least one of all of those. And then you got factory sets. We used to have Chase Prime sets. WizKids has done away with that. You got Chase Prime sets. You got the factory sets, and you got some other stuff. You had a handful of things, and everybody in your team got that on teams.
Yeah.
And then it got a little bit less as you went down. So maybe you don't get a factory set if you're in second place, or you get a different factory set, or maybe you get a Chase Prime. But everything accumulates to where at first place gets everything that everybody got, and it was nothing like that this year.
Yeah.
Now, I think that it's because they are lacking product. I mean, I think that. I'm not saying that it still shouldn't be that way, but I think that these guys doing this are working with what they have. The shelves are not full at WizKids of con exclusives like they have been in the past. Meaning that last year they ordered these things a year before. They didn't order as much, so that's where the mistake was made.
Here's the thing I looked at, which was when I look at the volume of stuff, and then I look at the older stuff. And you and I pretty much have been consistent doing this for over 6 years now for major events. When I'm still getting swag from 7-8 years ago, you have a problem with prize distribution. You have a problem with getting prizes out, or even more along the line saying, hey, we have a whole lot of prizes. Maybe we should have special events, and so that people can buy some of these prizes off. So at the end of the year, we have, maybe down to a handful. So the next year, Worlds, here's the last run, and then we're done. So that they actually maintain, some type of value or collector's value or whatever else,
What it appears like, what we're seeing is it seems like WizKids is cleaning the coffers. They're going and just grabbing everything they got. They're cleaning it. They're selling it. They're trying to clean up their warehouse.
Yeah.
Okay. Well, and I want to be clear about this. I don't really have a problem with receiving that old stuff as a prize. I have a problem receiving the old stuff as the main prize.
Yeah. No, that's a valid point. So let's sort of move on into like the way that you see the state of the game now. I've had really good conversations. I really wish I did record my conversation with Clay and Emily while we were just casually talking.
Clay and I have been talking
because that is probably the best conversation. I may be able to get Clay on here if I can. But what is your thought about the 300-point meta process? Not necessarily what the meta is, like just building a team to play in the 300-point meta. Because I think that's the one question, like, folks will be like, yeah, I hate Spider-Man, I hate APOC, I hate this. But it's like, what's the process of doing that you see right now?
Well, look, it's about to change, of course, because we're about to retire a lot of figures. And so it's going to change, and unfortunately, some of the stuff that we're retiring counters some of the pieces you just mentioned. So it's like they're more powerful now. So there's not as many counters as there was. There's still some, there's just not as many. I played yesterday, and was it yesterday?
Yeah, it was yesterday. It's been long. It feels tired. Yeah, I understand.
But I played yesterday, and every team that I played 5 rounds. And every team was different that I played. I saw different things. People trying different, and some of it was good. But if you look at the final tables, the stuff that you just mentioned, the Spider-Mans, and I think APOC is being played out there, and I know that Apocalypse, Scaring Iron Man, all those things they're part of teams. There's a lot of, I think that this year we're seeing a lot more non-themed teams. Than we have in the past because of the rule changes, where theme is you don't have prob anymore. And people are just putting the best thing that they can out there. I think a lot of it. I think when you're building teams, I think that you need a lot of attackers so that when you lose something, you can follow up and still stay in the game. Like I played in a game where a guy shot across the board and killed my surfer right off the bat. He came all the way across a long map and he killed him, and he did it with Sky Tyrant, ran back. And I immediately killed his Sky Tyrant. So the game was 50-50 and he lost his soul sword. So you have to be able to take a punch when you're building a team. If you build a team around a figure and that figure only, and he takes a punch and you can't count, you can't still fight, you're in trouble. So I think that's what it's about now. I think it's having lots of figures that can do lots of things that you can stay in the game.
The thing that I've sort of looked at is when theme teams, I remember theme teams was first encouraged to have people to play characters of the same team together, and so that thematic play was in line with competitive play, and that the spirit of the source material wasn't lost. I think the problem that we're dealing with now is that theme team got to the point where it's like, oh, here is it's theme team, and then there were, I forgot what the keyword district, it was like main theme and then like minor, like actual team names and then generic keywords. So now we got rid of all that and it's like they're just theme teams. And then we hit sort of a semi-sweet spot when we said your map roll is +3 and you have prob. And I think that worked out. If you're getting rid of the prob, I think the thing that has to come next to keep just keyworded teams together is figures that just grant that team bonuses, or grant those keywords bonuses that they do not give out if they're not on those teams. You need to have more figures that do that. And then the other end is just give swap. Just give flat swap. It doesn't have to be Professor X5 or 4 like Cap, but just be like, hey, you can swap out 2 characters of equal point value. That's it. And it makes things a lot more dynamic, because if you don't want to run theme, guess what? You do not have access to swap. You still have all of your good stuff, but if you are running theme, you do have the option of saying, oh, my matchup is like this. I'm going to bring in X or YZ character that share printed keyword with blah, 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 blah. And I think if you narrow it down to 2 or 3, it's a lot more balanced.
The only reason that you run a theme now is for map. You have a first player map or for beautiful play. That's the only reason, which can be important. But the main thing that they took out of theme was the props. Now, do you know why?
Because they said the Alpha Strike was too hard.
Exactly. They took it out because, and I don't disagree with that, because going to the smaller map, and now you bring your team across, and you got all these props for your Alpha Strike that you must hit, or else it made it where the Alpha Strike was more powerful. I don't disagree with that. But we're still seeing Alpha Strikes. We're still seeing. I like the small map. I like the small map just fine. But the figures that we're playing with, and it's going to be hard for a few years, are not suited for that size map because of the speed. And I also have to question that when we started going to the small maps, which was Spider-Man. Okay, so the figures, if you're going to the small maps and you have a plan, why wouldn't the figures that are coming from those sets forward be acclimated to run on the small maps? And what we're seeing is figures that can still go all the way across the map, still can do. I mean, in Pulp, you see Falcon bring something, which is crazy.
Yeah. Oh gosh. I had a conversation about with Daniel Powell and some Clipstyle people last night on the porch, and the best conversations always happen on the Saturday night on the porch, and it went like this. So one of the Clipstyle members was saying Blue Marvel needs to be banned from Pulp because he's too strong, Pulse Wave, Force Blast, 2 damage, whatever. And I'm like, yeah, I can understand that, but here's your problem. There's all this other stuff that comes in and rolls out and whatever. And then Dan was like, yeah, I just took Falcon, ran through Blue Marble, dropped him off, running shot pulse swing, and did the thing. And yeah, it's going to be full map reach. But here's my main concern is look, if you are going to accept or create a standard and say here is the walls and the fence, we go no further than this, then you can't keep making exception edge cases that says we're going to go get over the wall. And the problem that happens I see in design is they'll be like, we have to do this because this is interesting, this is different, or this will sell something. And it's just like,
You're gonna go.
but you know. So last thing, Howard, anything going forward for Rock that you want anybody to know over? It's just like we're working on it.
We are working on it. There's going to be some Silver Age changes. I put my blessing on going to 400 points, and I put my blessing on going to 400 points with the floor. But it's got to be in conjunction with WizKids, and we're working on talking to them about doing that. So I want to go to 400 points floor. That's what we hope the new Silver Age will be.
So this has been a great conversation with Howard Brock. I'm going to see who else I can get on this last day of Worlds.
All right.
Okay, this is the wonderful Ben at Troll & Toad, and this may be like unfound footage later, so we're just going to see what I can dig through and what quality of stuff that we can find in this dollar bin. I got a Karate Kid, Hitman, Darwin. A couple of people have found some cool legacy figures. I probably do think that there's a bunch in here. The only issue is which ones and how good are they going to be. Now, there's no cards, so you're just sort of getting things as they are. And a couple of them, like years ago, I would be excited for this, but not really now. You know, I think that's sort of the main problem. And I know like future generations will be like, wow, you know, the wealth of these people to have so much plastic waste, you know, materials and blah, 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 environment. You know, but when you're looking at the majority of the stuff, it's okay, how much stuff is like reusable, like realistically? This is a Black Flash. Was Black Flash? I don't know. I'm gonna toss him. Later on, someone's gonna be like, "Oh my gosh, you just threw $100 like right over in that bin." I mean, possible. Just possible. So, let's see. I got a Ronin, Hellfire Club guards, like the old ones. Robin, Douglock. Never playing. Aaron Davis, Sunspot.
It's on the second shot for the last one.
Iron Widow. Ooh, that one could potentially. That was a good one. That was like a key staple figure. I'm gonna put it over into the. Yeah, this could potentially be good. Now, I've also been told that people will find sculpts in one bin and then like throw it in the other. So that could be an issue. Oh, Fast Forces Professor X. Let's see what else we can find. Got a Wendigo. I've seen those before. Scroll, Mr. Fantastic. Awkward. Ooh, Ultron. Experience Ultron. We need a vet Ultron. Yeah. The Legacy is the vet Ultron, I do believe. So, yeah, we're close. We almost hit gold on that one.
I just thought it was funny how big it was.
Alright, let's see what else. Oh, this dude used to be boss. The Sinestro. He used to be like the man. 100 points for like the charge exploit 19D. That was good, but no longer. Maxwell Lord. Nikki. I think if I don't know what it is when I first look at it, I'm pretty much thinking it's done. Ronan the Accuser should be. Yeah, I just gotta toss him. Another Ronan the Accuser, just different set. Okay. Alright. Here's what we're gonna do. We're gonna go full risky here. We're just gonna dig deep and then pull from the bottom instead of like gradually going across the surface. So I'm gonna go deep. What's this? Abner Jenkins. Name sounds familiar. Probably at Ellie. Alright, let's see. From the bottom. Okay, so we got some Wonder Woman 80. Ooh, Eradicator. He's missing a hand. I think he's going to give you a legacy. Okay. Manhunter, no. Okay. Shooting to the side Punisher. Like that one was pretty good back in the day. Okay. Catman, alright. I'm gonna dig down deep again. Let's see here. Alright. Got too much. Alright, I'm looking. I don't see anything that's too hot off of first glance. Okay, so yeah, let's okay, so I'm just going to put that all over there. I'm just gonna put that all over there. Oh, hold up, wait. Oh no, wrong thing. I got happy for a second. Okay. Let's, I'm gonna dig deep with one hand. That seems to be the best way. Okay. Scroll Commando. Beast. Nikita Wagner. Okay, Scandal Savage. Hammerhead, no. Some Red Lantern guys, Rancor. That's just trash. Charlie 27, I don't think that's even worth it. No, I think I got more trash. Yeah. All right. 2 more digs for camera. Daxamite, no. This Polaris was not bad, but just that's not going to be legacy fodder here. The Trench, no. Destiny, no. Gorilla City Commander, no. I couldn't put any bets on that. Aquilo. Ooh. Arkham Asylum Aquilo. That's tempting. I'm going to put him to the side. Okay. Medusa, no. More Scrolls. Warlord, no. Batman, no. Iron. Dr. Tracy Simmons, no. Hydra. Ooh. Black Bolt. Oh. That's the newer set one. I got a little happy. I'm like, that one potentially could get a legacy, but it's not the older one. All right, let's deep dive on one last time. Last one. Oh. SP, no. Osiris, definitely no. He was good, but no. Charcoal, no. Firelord, no. Medusa, no. Let's see. Annihilus. Ooh. That's a maybe. That's a maybe. I'm going to put that over to the side. Let's see. Oh, long shot. I'm going to take it because I need a replacement sculpt. Mine fell off, and I don't want to glue them. Let's see. The Holiday Killer. He was meta back in the day. No longer. Spider-Man, no. Martinex. No. Adam. Dr. Tracy Simmons. Wild the Luck. Flash Thompson. Jason. No. Alright. So, what have we learned here? A couple of things. I think the first is, the whole another man's trash and another man's treasure, sort of is true to a degree, but also like, man, why did you make so much trash? I think that's a big question. The other thing that hits me is that in this bin, I think, again, this is the last day, it's a lot harder to hit gold than it is to find something that you think could potentially be a legacy figure. The other little weirdness that I've noticed is like in bins like this, unless they're in bags and stuff to keep everything together, that might get a legacy. That might get a legacy, but I'm gonna toss it. Yeah, this was my boy too back in the day. He's never getting a legacy. His range is too big. I know you're gonna say dark side, but homie has running shy. He has full map reach now. I think the other thing that comes in for me, just looking at this, is at what point in time do we just say, hey, heroclix, WizKids, just release a bunch of cards and take a year off, turn it to a card company, and print a bunch of just legacy cards. And so, have two, make them BC sets. It will be a lot easier because they already got approved. And bam, get some of these old figures, out the trash and just be like a whole set you can buy. Now, this one would be promising. Unfortunately, I don't know how I feel. I think this was probably a display piece that somehow got here. And it's broken. It's broken. So I don't know what to do. I'll have to toss it. But yeah, this is I don't want to say it's an exercise in futility. I want to say he'll get a legacy card, but I already got a crap ton. But all right, that's it. I'll see you in the next video.
All right, this is post-production Edward again. For the last time, I just realized after I put everything together that it just seems really odd just to leave the video off of me scooping figures out of a bin of heroclix and talking about that, and that being my last major thing. So I'm going to break down a little bit of what I see as the pros and cons of Worlds this year and major lessons learned. Number one, I'll say with the biggest pro is, just being able to see people and also that teams is proving to be the biggest draw. And I like that. I feel that the game is going to grow. People need to feel that they can compete. And without a level of competition, I think this game dies rather quickly because the niche level of the game of miniature superheroes put on a board, I think the amount of people that it scratches is very small. And I also think Crisis Protocol, it scratches the itch of people that like Warhammer to me, and also like superheroes, where I think heroclix scratches the itch of people that like chess and like superheroes. I'm not saying that the two can't intertwine or there's no Venn diagram where both of them work out together, but I'm just saying is that most of us don't like to paint our minis, and that's why we play heroclix. So I think if we're going to grow the community, people need to be able to compete, and I think Pulp will also be that other element that's going to be a positive to get people to compete in the game. My next positive I like is that this year it felt more international, not as international as PAX, but definitely it did feel more international. And shout out to Calder, the podcast messiah, who that's what I call him. But he put in the effort to get international players here, and that matters. That matters. And looking at it now, it matters more than I actually thought it did, because I think a lot of us think that we're hot stuff, and that's probably because we don't have to play a lot of other people, and we are too used to playing ourselves as Americans in particular. And I think when all is said and done, that internationally, America may not be the #1 place for heroclix in terms of skill. And that's something to think about, that possibility is there, but access to figures and then access to, even some of the structures is not really there in some of these other countries. And so, I mean, you see a lot of Americans dominating events. But I like the fact that this was more of an international Worlds. It was more along the lines of that theme. I also like the fact that WizKids didn't go El Cheapo on us and do like Avengers 60 for Team Sealed or for the Sealed set. And I also think it was a good idea that they just abandoned the Marvel or DC and they just let us play with Notorious, because no one's going to play Avengers 60. If I had to get Marvel Con-LEs through Avengers 60, ooh, buddy, once everybody heard, what was it? The God of Symbiotes was gone. You could fire that BR whenever you wanted. No one's playing. Everybody be playing DC to get just more symbiotes. Not more symbiotes. Get more undead chases. So let's sort of transition into the cons. And I think the biggest con of the event is we are not set on what a tournament structure should be like and what will be required. We have to assume that World Singles will be at minimum 125 plus players. That means that we need to do what's necessary for proper breaks. Either that or we go for a round break to top half and then go again. And I know some people say, well, breaks and then, that would be bad because, what if I could just get 6 rounds and then I could be 4-2 or whatever? I'm like, yeah. And it does penalize some of those people that would be early round, losses. But here's the grand situation. And I'm just going to say it. Winners win. Winners win regardless. And I think there is that point where it's like, yeah, I want hope and the paradise and the dream and all the other stuff. But like literally, if the issue is time, go 4 rounds, make your cut to top half, and then just go from elimination from there. Because if you did that, most people would actually probably play. Because, I think this is the big misconception for people not going to Worlds or boo-hooing 300 Modern. Let's say that your dice betray you and you're into round 4 or 5 or whatever. You are playing the creative teams. You're playing a lot more off-standard teams. You're playing people that had an idea that it worked really well with locals. And there you go. I really do believe that that's far better. I've had some of my best games and funnest games in the world at Worlds being on bottom boards at the end of the tournament, because those are the people who have courage. I'm just saying, and they believe in their team. And a lot of people don't believe in their team. They'll run the tech because the tech podcast lords told them, or that's what they saw one blankety blank event. But they don't really trust their team. And for a whole bunch of folks, they don't really like their team. And I'll say for myself, I liked my team. I ran Black Leopard. Okay? I ran Black Leopard. And Black Leopard screws up so much of the Spider-Man meta, it's not even funny. Is he invincible? No, he's not. But he screws a lot of that stuff up. So, just sort of going back, but you're encountering a lot of stuff. That's just frustrating with the tournament structure. And so something needs to be figured out so that we know what to expect. And it needs to be consistent, because I went from pulp to be 6 rounds, no cut, to 300 modern to being 5 rounds in a cut, to teams being, 5 rounds in a cut. Like just let it be. If the standard is 5 rounds in a cut, then let it be that 5 rounds in a cut. And then go build your day schedule out like that. No one would have a problem if on Thursday it's pulp and it started at 10 o'clock and it was 5 rounds in a cut or 4 rounds in a cut. No one would have a freaking problem at all. Okay? And if it's like, oh, well, we can't be there that late in the venue, just let everybody know it's 3 rounds in cuts to top 16. And if we have sub blank, it's going to be cut to top 4. Boom. Real simple. So there's that. I know there some people are like, yeah, strength of schedule. We need to do strength of schedule and blah, 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 and power rankings and all this other stuff. And while I agree with that, it ain't there. It ain't there. They did the website thing, and it was good until it broke. And I'm not saying that that's a full-on bad, but it was good until it broke. My last con, because I'm just going to wrap things up, is J Major getting stolen from. And that really that soured my mood, because Jalen is a teammate of mine. And I've known Jay for a long time. And that, it's not even with me visceral, like it's another black man, and that's why I'm mad that Jay got stolen from and other people got stolen from. No. It's Jay spent his time. He spent his money and he won. That's to be respected. He did the battle royales. He grounded out. He fought. He hustled. He traded. He sold. And if it was anybody else and they would undergo the same thing, I'd be still on here complaining. But it sort of hurts. Is like, look, this is the father of one of my teammates. And it also hurts. Is like, look, I interviewed him. You see him on the show. And, you have all your Black Lanterns stolen and your Con LEs stolen. All because someone decided to check doors in the parking lot. Now, I could say, I could repeat a line that one of my teammates said. It's like, look, the game has grown and we had a large worlds. And guess what? We don't know everybody. We're a tight-knit community, but we got new people, and some people may be on that Yu-Gi-Oh community. And y'all know about what goes down there sometimes, so hey. But it just seems a little bit more personal than maybe it should. And that's just how it is. So, to rip off my man, Will Holland. Be blessed and be a blessing to somebody. I'll check y'all next time.